Let's get it out of the way. Godzilla Minus One is the best Godzilla movie ever made. From the countless riveting drama that's layered throughout here to also the incredible Godzilla action, Godzilla Minus One hones in the best elements of the entire franchise all into one movie, and man, am I truly impressed with this. Because to be honest with you, I was not too excited for this. I thought the trailer looked cool, but it had that Godzilla action, and anytime we go into any of these monster movies, it always seems like the human characters just kind of take over the flame, and the actual monster action really just isn't there. Human characters can absolutely be great, but about 95% of Godzilla movies, monster movies, they're just absolutely awful, and it leaves us and audience members waiting for that next action scene to happen so we can at least get some enjoyment. In Godzilla Minus One, this is where the film succeeds. It succeeds as more of a monster horror drama than anything else, where Godzilla is, of course, the monster terrorizing these people. And the drama that relates to every one of the characters I found to be completely riveting. For a 2-hour film where Godzilla maybe shows up 3 or 4 times in some incredible action set pieces, everything else layered throughout the movie I found riveting for all the characters, their personal dramas, their interpersonal issues, and when it jumps into the horror elements of Godzilla, again, making Godzilla a terrifying creature, which I don't think Godzilla's honestly been scary since I was, 5 years old watching some of the old school ones, and I just knew it was just dumb fun action at that point. Honestly, to think about it, I don't think I've ever been terrified of Godzilla until this movie. A lot of greatness to talk about with Godzilla Minus One, but I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section, so make sure to leave your thoughts down there, hit that like and subscribe button. What is your favorite Godzilla movie up to this point? Have you seen Minus One? Let me know down below. Just as a point of reference, Godzilla, I haven't seen every single one of his movies. He's made countless movies. There's so many different appearances of him, but I have seen all the major ones. I grew up with Godzilla. He was my favorite monster growing up. I loved him to death. I played all the video games, and anytime a new Godzilla movie comes out, I always find myself intrigued, specifically with what the monsterverse is doing over at Legendary and everything that's kind of in the United States, whether it's Godzilla, Godzilla King of Monsters, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla vs. Kong, and of course we're getting another one of those movies, and they also just started the show Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which I actually think is quite underrated and pretty great. More people should be talking about that. But when it comes down to those MonsterVerse movies, which is probably the biggest appeal and what most people have been interacting within the Godzilla world now, the biggest problem is the characters. I mean, I've really loved like the sensation and the scaling and the battles, all of that stuff I've had no issues with. But each and every one of those movies, the characters definitely are the weakest aspects of them all. And it's always been a countless issue with these MonsterVerse movies of balancing characters and balancing action. And the other thing I'll also say is that, like, Godzilla and these monsters, at least like Godzilla and Kong, for instance, are like more heroes per se in the MonsterVerse. In this movie, Godzilla ain't no hero. Godzilla is a killing machine. And I loved how they portrayed it. Like I mentioned off the top, I found Godzilla to be absolutely terrifying in here. I think the horror tones in here are really all there. And to really just speak on the greatness of what Godzilla has in here is, first off, the visual effects, the cinematography of him, the scaling of him. It is jaw-dropping what they were able to accomplish here. I know the big thing going around is the $15 million budget. If that is true, my God, Godzilla looks, as honestly never probably looked better. And this is a more, as my fiance said during the movie, a thicky version of Godzilla, who's just towering and just bloated and just monstrous. And anytime he gets hurt, whether from a bomb, a gunshot, they do this very unique thing where you still see the battle damage on him, but the way that it kind of just heals himself is very grotesque and nasty, but works. And Godzilla, again, just looks like this towering creature that is disgusting, but also a sight of awe to see. And the visual effects, all that stuff was great. There had to have been some practical work in there, because there's one shot of him in the ocean that just looks stunning, to say the least. And if we're also speaking of Godzilla, one of his signature moves is his atomic breath, which we've seen countless different versions of, but I actually think that this sequence that they have in here in particular might be my favorite atomic breath sequence ever. It saw Gareth's version of Godzilla back in like 2014. I loved when he opened up the monster's mouth and just shot right down it, but there's just something of awe and horrific nature of seeing what Godzilla's able to do, but also how the atomic breath works. You see it like launch up his tail and it just like jam right into the back of him and just shoot. And at first it's just like this big little laser, and it just becomes this nuclear blast. And it's again terrifying to see what is there. And last thing to say about Godzilla, I mean, he destroys a lot, and it all looks damn great. It is absolutely incredible and very horrifying, and I love it again that this felt more like a horror drama than anything else. But that key word I mentioned was drama, and a lot of that goes down to the performances, the story, everything that they were telling here. I've never felt this riveted on a character drama inside a monster movie in quite a while. I think the last time I really felt this was in Bong Joon-ho's Host. I thought that was a great monster film. But whether it's Cloverfield, which I enjoy Cloverfield, by the way, or any of the Monsterverse movies, or you can say any others, I've never really felt this attached to characters or wanted them to succeed or just heal from their PTSD. Because this takes place in post-war Japan after World War II, and they're at their lowest point. But when a new crisis emerges in the form of a giant monster, I mean, it horrifies them all. And when you look at our main character and what he's gone through, he was a kamikaze pilot that pretty much said, yeah, no, that's not going to be me, and chickened out. And Godzilla has just kind of tortured him ever since then. These little instances of him, and you see him throughout his like a 5-6 year span and how that affects him. Who comes into his life? New friends, new family, everyone that changes his life for the best. But what is the pressure of that and this PTSD that is holding him back from succeeding in his newfound life? And I really found that key piece of drama to be the best aspect of Godzilla Minus One. And honestly, the most surprising. Because you have all that action, you have that destruction, you have that horrifying nature, you have that you don't know what's going to happen when Godzilla shows up. But in between all those moments, it does such a great job building up the characters, never making an annoying character, always making every single one of the characters likable and lovable and someone that you want to follow around. And that's where it really just takes Godzilla Minus One into that next layer and makes me go as far to say that, yeah, this is the best Godzilla movie. It's a masterpiece. It's perfection. And it's one of the best films of 2023. I think in a lot of ways what people will view this movie is as an allegory to war. There's a lot of thematics to that and a lot of dissection that people will actually touch into this. And I think that's one of the things that Godzilla Minus One does so well. Ultimately about a movie about life and those who survive. The fact that a horror monster movie featuring Godzilla can do that and rivet you to the very end of it, even when the monster is not on screen, I think captures all the best elements of the Godzilla franchise that have been honestly sorely lacking in quite a while. And that's okay. I come to the Monsterverse movies to get my great action, but when I come to a movie like this, I was pleasantly surprised to see it was more than that and to get more greatness from that. That's why Godzilla Minus One is probably the most riveting monster movie made in quite a while. An emotionally deep film that has drama that you actually care for, and it delivers on the incredible Godzilla destruction. Probably my favorite atomic breath moment, and I haven't even gotten to talk about the score yet, but man, that just ties it all together. I love this movie so much, and I cannot wait to see it again. I can't implore you enough. Go check it out in theaters this weekend. So all that said, I'm going to give Godzilla Minus One an A+. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. Tis the season to a bunch of great movies right now because of for your consideration. Godzilla Minus One might not be one of those, but they should honestly be pushing this for international film because it's that damn great. Thank you so much again for watching this, though. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and of course, until next time, stay classy.